Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DevCast, your weekly Roblox podcast for all Roblox-related content and personal up-close interviews and conversations with some of your favorite Roblox creators. I'm your host, Dev for Hire, and today we're here with One Cole, known for his skills in both Roblox development and YouTube, as well as being a proud owner of Social Seed, a platform for YouTubers and developers to connect. Welcome, One Cole! Woo! Let's go!
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
it. We want a conversation about what your early life was like on Roblox and, how you really came to Roblox. So, if I could recall, you said that your brother made a game on Roblox, right? Right? And then you just sort of looked on from there and you were like, yo, this is cool, right? If I could recall.
Yeah, exactly. My older brother, he's 4 years older than me. Ended up releasing his game when he was a little kid. It was all free models. It was like not a properly functioning game at all. But he released this game 2013, released the game, and hit the front page, and everyone was freaking out. My parents came downstairs and like, no way, you made a game that has 81 real players. And I remember seeing that, and then I joined the game, and my brother gave me admin commands. So then I had a sword, started killing other players, and thought it was the coolest thing. And then the next day I made an account. And I have a twin brother who did the exact same thing. We were both set on becoming Roblox developers right after that moment.
Oh, so it was set in stone the moment you guys became on the front page. That was that's awesome. Wait, what time was this?
Yeah.
What time period was this? What, like 2013? 2013. Whoa, that's actually impressive, actually, because that's sort of like when Roblox sort of started to pick up a little bit and grow a little bit large. So
exactly. Yeah,
that's very interesting. That's very impressive. Like, a lot of people think about even front page games back in 2011 or even further back then. But that really is awesome. Wait, how old is your brother now? So if he's 4 years old, then
he's like 23.
Oh,
he's
sweet.
23 now. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, also, I just want to sort of like just try to sort of get into this. So, because of this inspiration and flocking to Roblox, it seems that you sort of diverted your attention sort of onto some other project. It seems that that you're currently working on, and it seems to be Social Seed, correct? You're working on this platform called Social Seed. Yeah. Can you explain to me what exactly is Social Seed? I'm very curious. What, just sort of explain to the viewers what exactly is Social Seed.
Yeah, so Social Seed is just Fiverr, but for Roblox developers and Roblox content creators. So it's that simple. Roblox developers come in, make an account. They can shop all these big Roblox creators, think the biggest YouTubers, TikTokers on Roblox, and then you pay them money to make a video on your experience. And then by doing that, you're going to get a bunch of players on your game. So it's just essentially like an advertising tool for Roblox developers.
But then, apart from that, I was just trying to think, what inspired you to do Social Seed in general? Like, what really came of this platform? I'm very interested in what your journey was and how that sort of started and even came to mind.
There's a long-winded answer, and then there's a shorter answer.
Please, a long-winded answer. Please. I must know the whole thing. Please, for sure.
Okay.
I'll gladly listen.
Yeah, so I was 16 years old. This was about 3 years ago, and I had made like a few $100,000 from Roblox, and I'm like, this is going quite well. But I for some reason had these like I guess like semi panic attack or like life realization of, oh no, I can't grow outside of Roblox. I'm like, if I'm always a Roblox developer, I will only grow as big as Roblox gets. So like I've always wanted to like own like $1 billion company. I thought that'd be really cool. So I had like the realization like, oh no, I won't ever be able to grow into a $1 billion company because I'm inside Roblox. Like I'm gonna be limited. So then I thought of this. I ended up kind of like brainstorming some other ideas and ended up realizing, dude, what where is the future of advertising and like where is it headed? And I had this realization that these big YouTubers would wear like an Adidas shirt in the video, like Mr. Beast, for example, would be wearing like a Nike shirt in his Mr. Beast YouTube video. And I'm like, dude, I had this realization because I was in a mall and I saw this like little Asian kid point to like a boba sign at the mall and say boba. And I told Ian, I'm like, Ian, how does this like 4 years old? I didn't know he could speak. Know what boba is? And this is definitely not why he knew what boba is. But I'm like, I made this assumption like, oh, it's because this kid watches Sniper Wolf and Sniper Wolf always makes video on boba. That was my thought of like that has to be the reason as a little kid. I mean, definitely his mom definitely drinks it. That's probably the reason why. But my technical brain was like, oh, he watches YouTube videos of his favorite YouTubers who drink boba and talk about boba.
Yeah.
So then I had this realization of, okay, so I kind of want to leave Roblox or do something outside of Roblox that could become a $1 billion company. Just saw this kid point out a boba sign and don't know boba is because he watches influencers. And I had this realization. I'm like, dude, the future of advertising is no longer going to be ad reads for Raid Shadow Legends. It's not going to be ad reads for BetterHelp. It's going to be subconscious marketing. It's just going to be just wearing an Adidas shirt, and Adidas pays for me to wear this shirt on this podcast.
True.
And so I had this like super big realization. I'm like, oh, this is the future of advertising. Like obviously in movies they don't do this. In movies it's all product placement, and I'm like, this is gonna be the future of YouTube as YouTube as a platform matures. So I ended up this is 2 years ago. I started like building out this like full like business plan and website and everything like that. I'm like, I'm gonna build a platform that connects brands like Adidas or top brands to every top YouTuber for advertising, for subconscious advertising. And it could be anything as long as it's like a physical good, it would work. So whether it be like a hat or a logo or even like a mic, I thought like even Yeti could pay the biggest influencers to kind of show the Yeti logo a little bit in the video. And yeah, it was this like grand plan. I thought I was on track to become a billionaire. Like, this is easy. But then
Nice.
I realized, oh wait a minute, this is going to be really hard. At this point, I had a programmer. Like I'd gotten caught up the programmer, and he's like, this is going to take like a few years to build. Like we're going to need fundraising. We're going to need millions of dollars of fundraising. I'm like, oh shit, I'm 16. I really can't do that. So I ended up.
True.
And then it's funny while this is all happening. This is like, over the course of like my high school. My Roblox game Dream Island. I have like a role play game called Dream Island. This YouTuber named Glitch kept making videos on the game like every week. And we started adding custom admin commands into Dream Island for him. He would make a full video on the admin command.
That's a classic.
And then I had this realization like, oh, I should pivot my social seed strategy from being all brands to the biggest influencers to just becoming a Roblox marketplace, which is something I understand. So I ended up kind of changing the whole business model, just saying, okay, well, how can I make this grand plan into something I can actually achieve? Is it going to be morphing it into Roblox, or it's just going to be subconscious marketing for Roblox developers paying big Roblox creators for advertising? So that's kind of how the full story came to be, and that's kind of where we are now.
That's absolutely fascinating. When did you sort of look at brands and be like, yo, this is probably the next big thing? When did you like, was it just sort of that moment, the exact moment, or was it like earlier? Because you did mention that you're very entrepreneurial when you're much younger. Was it always really a dream for you to sort of create a branded identity, a branded entity of some sort that you can be proud of? Or?
Yeah, I mean, when I was like 12 years old or maybe 11 years old, I made a company that sold hand gesture erasers on pencils. So it's like a little like hand gesture. And so I ended up doing that.
Yeah, so like the finger point, and then
yes, I sold those. Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I started this company called like Pencil Pals, or what it was called, and I sold them at my school.
That's crazy.
And then I done like I ended up doing like we ended up like dog leashes from our neighbors and doing that. And then I got like by the time I was like I want to say like 13 or 14, I started getting a little bit more wise about like you can actually learn this stuff online. So I started kind of following like behavioral consumer psychologists and a lot of these like drop shippers and a lot of these like just like business-y psychology-esque people who were always talking about brands. So I already had like a pretty good grasp of like how brands work and why certain brands work is because they have good messaging, and the product doesn't actually even matter as much as the messaging sometimes. Like you can sell water if it's just called Liquid Death.
Yes, I've heard of that, right?
You know?
It's like completely black,
I mean,
right?
It's just water, but it's in a beer can, and it says Liquid Death. And now they're adding flavors and food coloring if you want to get that.
I know
But
what
it's
you're
literally
talking
just
about.
water in a beer can, so then you don't feel weird. You're out with your friends and you're drinking, and you don't want to drink beer. You can just drink
Awesome.
water. So yeah, I kind of learned all these like little like business things. Started watching some podcasts and got like super into it. And so then by the time I was like 16 years old, I already had like a pretty good like foundation of like I want to do something with brands. So yeah, I already kind of had my own companies. I was already pretty into the branded space, I guess. So it was a pretty natural.
So then I'm just thinking, Social Seed must be pretty old then, right? It must be pretty like 2 or 3 years old already, I think.
Yeah, it's around like the original idea is around 3 years old, but my programmer didn't start going full time on it until like around 11 months ago. So we didn't start like I didn't have like the Roblox pivot until like 11 months ago, in which my programmer went full time. We started like actually working on it instead of like it just being an idea, you know. Yeah.
I've never got into this, but It seems that you use someone else externally for programming. What's your I'm just curious. What's your other? I'm assuming that that means you don't program yourself. What do you? What is your often other technical skills that you usually would have? Do you do graphic designing as well? Like, I'm pretty sure you do graphic design, or do you use all of that other stuff externally? Do you or hire externally for that?
Yeah, so
Curious.
what I tell people is like
Sorry.
is I can do everything but program. No worries.
No,
So I can
same
do
here,
everything but
brother.
program.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
exactly,
Yeah,
bro.
then you got it.
We're
Yeah.
man, we were separated
So
from birth, literally. Three. It was three of us. Okay. I
yeah,
was
there were
shipped off to
triplets.
a different country. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I can 3D model, can do graphics, can do
let's
marketing,
go,
everything but
dude.
program.
Yo,
Yeah.
dude. Man, you truly are an entrepreneur. That's crazy. Like straight up. I can't. A lot of business people they don't know how to program, and they're like, I don't know. What do I know about programming? But they know how to put people together. They know how to create teams together and make things work. So,
Yeah.
I think that's
Exactly.
really awesome. Appreciate that. Um, I know you've sort of probably been on a pretty long journey then, throughout all of this in your life and establishing social seed and all that. But I'm very curious to see what is one of the biggest lessons you've actually learned, sort of like growing up in the Roblox environment in general. What is the biggest thing you've learned from, what's your biggest takeaway from like being in the Roblox community in general? Is there anything you have to sort of like add on to that point?
Yeah, I think that the biggest lesson I learned was how to social engineer yourself to be in the right situation and meet
Mm,
the right people. I think that you can succeed in anything if you just know the right people, if you just do the right moves,
true.
and
It's about who you know,
and
man. That's a good point.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
your connections
yeah,
and
when
who
I
you know
was
is great.
like I completely finessed my way into becoming a top developer. Like like I didn't have a huge game. I don't know. Like I don't. It's not like I'm Hasm and have like this game with 50,000 CCU. Like I'm not even. It's like compared to a lot of other developers, I'm very average. Like like a top
Mm,
1,000 developer. Yet I'm known as one of like the most well known developers. And it's just because I made some really good connections really early on, and like ended up
mm,
like just like latching onto these communities around Roblox and like meeting the key kind of players, and then kind of figuring out what they're doing, where they're going, how I can help them, and then it's like over the course of like 5 years, I slowly climbed the ranks of just knowing like these like cafe owners. My brother owned a Roblox
oh,
cafe,
cafes,
and so
yo, those
yeah,
make
yeah,
barely any money though. That's for sure. I know
yeah. They're
that for
not.
sure.
Yeah, they don't make as much money. But yeah, so at first I was just like me, the highest, like most like famous developer I knew would be like a cafe owner, and then I slowly climbed the ranks of knowing someone who owned a game with like 500 CCU, and then meeting someone who has like 1,000 CCU, and then meeting front page developers, and then figuring out what they're doing,
Mm.
how they're making games popular, and all that stuff. So I like very like I finesse my way. I even done this YouTuber called Tapwater, who's like this Roblox developer YouTuber. Like he
I've
did
seen
like a
that
Shark
guy.
Tank.
I've heard of him.
Yeah,
I've
he
seen
did
him on
like a
Twitter. Yeah.
yeah, he did like a Shark Tank, and like at this point, I was kind of a small developer, but I knew that like if I can get myself to be a shark in the show, then thousands of people will see me as like a credible source. So I started donating like hundreds of dollars a stream, so then everyone would talk about me, and then like I used to be a
Mm.
streamer as well, by the way. I used to be like a Fortnite streamer, so
Oh
I kind of
yes, the streaming game
knew how
as
to do
well.
that. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
you're
I
doing
kind of joined in
everything.
the stream. I've done a lot, but yes, I ended up joining. I ended up joining on time for the stream, and then I ended up meeting the sharks, and I kind of like finessed my way into becoming well known in the community.
Mm.
But and then now it's coming from a different place of like actually understanding the content. I actually now have been working with big games, but in the beginning, it was almost like faking it until I'm making it. Just kind of social engineering my way, getting the
Mm.
right mentors in place, meeting the right people to then grow and become a top developer.
Mm. I'm really sort of glad you're sort of like honest about this in a way because a lot of people aren't really sort of they're not a lot of people often when they hit a specific point of success in their life or they sort of like let's just say mining diamonds like when you finally hit
Yeah,
that jackpot of a specific thing that you succeed in your life with. A lot of people sort of don't really, or maybe sort of are too lazy to sort of elaborate really the sort of stages that they sort of went through to, and the hoops that they had to jump, the connections that and the people that they actually had to meet to make all of these things happen. It's a very, to move up the ladder, you really do need a lot of social engineering. You really need to be able to understand what clicks with people and, and how relationships can benefit you and obviously move your way up the ranks in whatever you're trying to do. So I really do. I respect that. I think that's really awesome. You know that you met all these people and stuff and along the way. And I mean, it's just I think it's great. I really I
Yeah,
I don't really I don't think I've really sort of grasped like how actually insane it actually is. Like how interconnected the networks of like the whole community and everybody actually is. YouTubers, developers, and stuff like that. It
yeah.
really is a fine woven system, and if you don't know how to like ride the wave of specific people and connections, you will just fall through the cracks. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I mean, it's kinda the key takeaway, and, it's funnily enough, I kind of know how to do this in real life now, so, like, if I need to meet somebody or I know, "Hey, my favorite YouTuber is gonna be around here," like, I know what to do. I know how to meet
mm,
people who they know the person, I know how to get in the room with kind of anybody now, so, yeah, it's just about, like, yeah, understanding where the right people are, and then who are the people that everyone talks about and wants to be around. Because if you can
true,
become
true,
one of those people, then everyone will be around you. So,
true.
yeah, it was a very big struggle. I got scammed a ton, but I would say at the end of the day, it all kind of comes down to your reputation. If you're 12 years old, want to be a Roblox
Oh
developer, and you're
boy,
just going around scamming
holy
everybody,
hell.
like everyone's gonna know that. And like rumor has it, I even know some big developers now who are like well known in the
We
community
probably were
who are scammers.
scammers or something. I don't know.
They scam me. Like they
Oh
scam me
yeah,
as a kid,
that's not
and
good.
I'm like these. I see that RDC. I'm like these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
like
that's true. That's true.
they made
Yeah,
it to the top, even though they scam people.
that's
Yeah. So
hilarious.
they're
Yeah,
yeah, but definitely the very top people are never scammers. The
yeah,
top
true.
developers of all Roblox are never scammers. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they
keep a good
hustle
reputation, network,
truly.
and yeah, you'll go up. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Next point I sort of want to sort of get into it is now that you sort of expressed to me sort of like what you've necessarily learned. I just want to ask, what's your sort of biggest mistakes and failures? What is the biggest personal failure that you've personally learned from? What has really truly changed you and shook you to your core? Like, is there anything that really did hit you deep at one point?
Yeah, there was this game called Celebrity Simulator I worked on,
Mm,
and this is me coming off of kind of like a high. So I released two games. They each ended up making really good money. A lot. I had a lot of money in my bank account, and I
yeah.
was on this like really high like winner effect of like nothing can stop me. I'm the best Roblox developer of all time. I have two games. I'm making like 100K at 16. Like I'm better than everybody else. And then I ended up making this game called Celebrity Simulator. It's like a similar game with a twist where you play the instruments like row beats. So it's like
Mm.
or if you're looking older in the
Oh,
audience, like
I actually
Guitar
think I
Hero.
saw this on Twitter at one point. I
Yeah,
saw that you
yeah,
advertising this. Oh, I think you're right. That was the.
yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah. Continue.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm curious now. I'm intrigued.
yeah,
Please go
yeah.
on.
So I spent all this time developing it, and I was like 100% convinced I was genius, and this is like the next big game. And yeah, so the map looked incredible. The
It
sounds were
did.
incredible. The GFX, state of the art. The marketing, it was one of the best marketed games of that year.
Yeah.
And I released the game, and it completely flopped. It
What?
got 2,000
Seriously?
players the first day. Yeah, it got 2,000 players the first day. The next day had 100 players. The next day had 0 players. It
What?
literally went from 2,000 players to
Yo!
100 players.
Ah!
And I'm like, and I was like, and this is one of the things where I had like 1,000 Discord members, 1,000 Twitter followers. I'm like, oh, this is going to be such an easy win, and it wasn't. And what I
Gosh.
realized through all of that was that you can be the best marketer, you can have the best sounds, you can have the best models, but if the game isn't fun to play, it's not going to work.
True.
And
You need that
it was just like
formula.
the biggest kick in the face ever of
Gosh.
like if you could be the best artist of all time, but the art isn't fun to do.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you can make it look as good as you want. You can have. Like, I hear little kids come to me all the time, and they tell me, "Cole, I have 10,000 Discord members. Do you want to be a part of my Roblox game? Like, I'll love for you to be a part of it." And I'm like, that means nothing. It's like if the game isn't out, it means
Yeah.
nothing. Like 10,000 Discord members for a game, that's just
Hmm.
marketing.
Hmm.
Marketing is completely useless if you have a bad product. I can't market you to buy my knockoff iPhone. You're never gonna buy it. Is because it's a knockoff
True.
iPhone.
True.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so that's my biggest lesson is like, okay, so I ended up now doing like a full 360 after that. This was about a year
Hmm.
and a half ago, maybe 2 years now. And I'm like, okay, none of that. No marketing, no good graphics, no sound effects. What makes a fun game? So I ended up like just going through hundreds and hundreds of videos and like games and like I would
Hmm.
play top Roblox games, have a document on my other monitor, and I'd write down everything the game had. And then it got to a point where I would be able to join any game and immediately start picking out, okay, this is the reason why this game is fun. Like this reason, this feature, this quest feature is really working out for this game. That I could play any game and immediately like point out the things that make the game fun and make the game like why players actually come back. And then once that happens, yeah, which is kind of like where I'm at now to a certain extent, is like now I can join any game and immediately see where the game's not fun and why it won't work. Like literally any game. And some games are just phenomenal and don't really need much work. But I do consulting for brands and top Roblox developers, and a lot of the time, it's really easy for me to just swap into a game because I did after years of doing this. I can hop into any game now and immediately pick out the things on why the game's not going to work. And then I've helped a lot of Roblox games go from like 0 players to like 20,000, 30,000 players because I just understand what makes games fun. So it's essentially going from all acquisition and marketing to going, okay, wait, that doesn't matter. How do I make a good product? How can I make a fun game? And then if that's all you do, then everything else will come naturally. So yeah, that's the biggest learning is don't try to make a beautiful game. Try to make a fun game. That's all that matters.
True. There's a lot of, just brands or even professional companies that come to the Roblox platform in some way. And a lot of them, most professional people you could imagine, right? And it's unfortunately they get a lot of things wrong in some specific aspects. And, I think a lot of them also learn the hard lesson, or just anybody in general, any person coming to Roblox, they make these hard mistakes of, specific things that should specifically align up, but they never really get all of that together. They just think, oh, this looks great. We've got a good marketing team, and hopefully that just carries it. It's more than that. It's a lot of things involved. It's genuinely like a very complex machine of, social engineering, working. It's also, oh man, it's actually too much. I can't even get into it really is that. I mean, I think you and I can both agree that it's significantly harder to sort of like break into the market now than it ever was, like 5 years ago in Roblox, right? So it's definitely, times have changed as well. Not only that, right? You can have everything, you can have the stars aligned, right? You can have everything perfect, right? But what if it's not the right environment? What if it's now not the right time? Like, what if it's not trending right now? If something's not trending, you have to ride a specific wave, and you really sometimes even have to time it sometimes. Like, it really is, it gets that intuitive and really gets that complex sometimes. So,
Yeah, people always ask me, like, yo, can you just teach me how to become a Roblox developer?
Oh,
And
boy.
I'm like, oh, shit. I don't know if I can because
It's a bit of a
there's so
problem.
many aspects of product market fit, making a good product, leading a team. Like this isn't something I can just teach somebody. This is something you have to do and learn.
Yeah.
And yeah, like example, it's like if the game could be phenomenal. Like imagine if this is a great example. I've released this game called like Galaxy Space Clickers. So I don't know if you know who Dob Dev is. He's a pretty big Roblox dev. He made this game called Clicking Mania around. But before he released Clicking Mania, he needed money to fund his own game. And so I ended up spending around 50,000 Robux or something around there to buy a space version of his game that he was working on. So I ended up doing that. And I released my game and it got like 50 players and just died. I'm like, well, you know what? I've had worse failures. But his game called Clicking Mania, or it may have been Tapping Mania, ended up hitting the front page, getting 50,000 concurrent players. And by the way, it was the exact same code, exact same UI, exact same game. It's just the difference between his game and my game is my game was in space and his game was on normal grassland.
That's crazy.
That was the
bro.
only difference. And he ended up becoming a millionaire off of that game, I think, maybe at least a lot of money. And my game flopped. So it's just product market fit and understanding what do Roblox players want. And a lot of people are going from iOS. They're seeing all these games, let's say like space games or like League of Legends or 2D games. Oh, that'll work on Roblox too. And they come to Roblox, they release it, and it would just completely not work. So you need to understand the Roblox ecosystem. And there's certain games on Roblox that do well, certain games that don't. There's certain lighting styles that work on Roblox, certain lighting styles that don't. Like you would know this. There's like there's different lighting styles for different types of games. There's different build styles for different types of games. So it's incredibly hard to understand if you're outside of the ecosystem. But once you start playing and taking notes and understanding what games work and why they worked, you can pretty. I mean, now after 10 years of doing it, I can pretty easily put my finger on why certain games work and how I can make games that will work and have a certain style and vibe that the Roblox community will like.
No, man, but I think that says it in itself. I don't even think we can go beyond this sort of point because there's so much. There really is so much that goes into making an absolute banger game on Roblox, and and especially for the long term, you can even reach that final hurdle of success, and your game could blow up, right? And it could be a fun game, but then now if there's lack of content, like some games just fall short as well. They fall into that that ditch, and then those games also end up dying. So it really is like a minefield. Like there's just so much you have to watch out for, and it really is very complicated. So I
Yeah,
think
I just thought of like one more analogy I'll use to kind of compare this to the end. The ending kind of like point of this question is like you can lead a horse to water, but if the water is poison, it will not drink any more water. If the water is okay, it'll keep drinking the water occasionally maybe, but if the water is amazing, they're gonna bring friends. So if you
oh,
just make a product that's so good, it's golden water, they're gonna drink it, they're gonna tell their friends about it, and their friends are gonna tell their friends about it. The
mm,
game's naturally gonna blow up. You don't need no algorithm. You don't need no.
true.
You need minimal marketing. You just need a few horses at the water, and your game's gonna blow up. So just make sure your
Yes,
product is so good that it's better than everything else, or more fun than everything else, or at least a unique
true.
idea, or it's a different flavor of water, and the game will just go berserk. But
Mm,
if you make a water that's like everyone else's water, no one's gonna want it. And if the water's poison, aka the game's not fun,
mm.
then just it's not gonna work. Regardless of how many horses you bring to it, they're not gonna keep drinking it.
Honestly, excellent segment over there. Awesome. So now I just want to sort of get into advice. What advice would you actually give to Roblox creators starting out right now, in this very environment that we're in and so on? What is, if you could go back in time, tell your 12-year-old self or 10-year-old self
Yeah,
or whoever, any time at the point in your life,
yeah.
what advice would you give, to people starting out currently?
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot.
Oh boy, okay.
First off, don't buy any courses. Do not buy any courses, please. I beg you.
Please. True, true.
Do not buy courses. I've not seen a single Roblox course. I don't think so far. Like, at least there may have been some out now that are real, but do not buy courses. That does not help you. Second off, do not go hard. Like, do not think of a hard game idea. Think of an easy game idea. Like
Mm,
when you're thinking of your game idea, don't have a game where there's like pirate chips and pirates that you can kill. Like that's impossible. You're not
true.
gonna be able to do that.
Especially
So
when
do
you're
not
starting
think
out.
big.
Yeah. It's too
Exactly. Yeah.
complicated. You need to go for the smallest idea you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, like just like do not think big. Think very easy. Think doable. Think a few weeks of work. What can I get done?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like like for me, I wish what I did was I started making like obby and tycoon games. This is the easiest games to make, just an obby game, and then from there, if you made 100 obby games, you're gonna eventually have an obby game that's gonna work out, and you're gonna understand the reason why obbies work and how to build them properly and all this stuff. You're gonna master one kind of niche. But if you are trying to make this pirate game that takes you 6 years of your life, and you're 8 years old, have no money, have no developers, it's gonna get done. So please go easy, go easy.
Go easy.
Make a game
Yeah.
that you can finish in a few weeks, and then just keep doing that over and over and over. And with rapid iteration, you're gonna start thinking of ideas that are gonna be easy to do. They're gonna be easy to execute, which means the game will work out. So yeah,
Mm,
go really easy. And you're trying to get as many games out as possible. Most Roblox developers I know who are kids, they've only released one game, and maybe it's like a simulator game that has like 10,000 visits. I'm like, dude, you should be making you need to be making way more and failing way more. You need to fail more. Don't be scared of failing. You literally can't fail. You're like 8 years old.
that
So
is
just
huge.
keep
Yeah.
trying to make new games, make it as fast as possible, as easy as possible, and just keep failing and failing and failing. And something will eventually click, and then from that, you're gonna start understanding why games work, how to do game design,
Yeah.
and then from there, it'll be way easier than if you make one game over the course of 6 years that never gets released. So just do not be ambitious when you're starting out.
That's honestly, I think that's the best advice you can possibly get. You know, when we're very young, we often tend to overcomplicate and overthink about everything around us because, we often look at people who are much older than us or, people who are much more successful in a specific way. And you possibly think that they've done the most complicated things possible, right? To obviously achieve where they are because the amount of output that they are doing within that period of their life is so much. So you often expect that you need to have that exact same output when it could never be further from the truth. You actually need to scale down and start small. And, if you start small enough and simple enough, and, if you genuinely have a very good game, you will strike gold. And it won't, it'll actually, and that's what's really going to carry you is the simplicity of your idea. The successfulness of that very small idea, you just got to grow it from there. It's literally like growing a plant in a way.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean, great example of a game that just recently came up on Roblox is Blade Ball.
No,
I mean,
true,
it's
true.
literally a game where you have a sword and there's a ball coming towards you, and you just hit the
Hit the
ball and it
ball.
goes back. It's like
So
that's it.
simple.
That's all the game is.
True.
And the game blew up, and then they're like, okay, now we can add effects, and like so like build off of a simple feature. Don't try to build everything into one game. Like just start with one core concept, see if it works, and then you can add on to that. Or like you'll notice most big Roblox games are actually like simple things like
The
cops
most
vs
simplest
robbers,
things ever.
tag,
I mean,
freeze
one
tag.
game is
Like
literally everyone spawns in a bathroom and it's like a square, or it's like an empty white box, and I saw like 6K's players on it. And there's people like spray painting on the walls, drawing things, and people like screaming in voice
yeah,
chat. But it's just a box, I think. It's just like, I don't know what the game
yeah,
is, I don't know who the owner is, but like it's just like that's wild. Like I like okay, but and it's just a white box. And if you have the right marketing and the right people playing it to sort of explain the context of why this white box matters, enough people are
yeah,
going to play it, and it's something you can gain traction somehow. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's so hard to hit it. You can look at something like that and you hit your head against the wall, but that's only when you're not thinking about the context of why that's so attractive. If that makes sense, you'd
Yeah,
be like, this probably sounds like such a dumb idea. A lot of these games on Roblox, you probably think of them and be like, this sounds dumb. This makes no sense. How is this successful? But when you really do look deep into things, you'll probably be fascinated. So very
yeah,
intriguing.
yeah,
Yeah. So
100%.
so yeah, honestly, that's a great way to end off that segment. I just want to ask, what are your plans for the future currently? What do you expect to sort of be doing for the next 5 years of your life? I'm quite curious on that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I keep getting asked the question, and I don't really know an answer to it.
Oh.
For so long, I always had like a future plan of
Mm,
like, okay, once this happens, I'm gonna become a YouTuber. Once this happens, I'm gonna be doing
true.
this or like whatever. And like I just realized that was just me running into the wall over and over and over, wanting something more. And truly, like my pet shop game and Social Seed were my two ideas that I have never given up on, and I truly
Mm,
love and believe will become huge games or huge projects. And I'm like, I just wanna like ride the wave of these projects,
mm,
and see how
yeah.
they go. And like so I just probably honestly just work on my pet shop game and Social Seed and just see how big I can make them. And then even if
Mm,
those fail, I just feel like I'll intuitively know the next best thing to do for myself.
mm,
So yeah, I don't really want anything more. I don't even like if I stay in this apartment for the next
mm,
5 years and whatever, like I'll be fine.
yeah.
And I think that most Roblox developers they'll get a game with 500 CCU and I want 1,000 CCU. And then they get 1,000 CCU. I want 5,000 CCU. They get again 1,000 CCU.
True,
I want
true.
100,000 CCU.
So never
And it's this
enough.
endless cycle. It's an endless cycle of never being enough. But what if you were just like happy with 500 CCU and then just built out the game and built out? This is actually the key to and how to make a game hit a
Mm,
higher CCU
yeah,
count. Is
yeah.
you get a game with 500 CCU and you build a community around the game. You do updates on the game. You nourish it like a baby for years and years, and then it'll become a huge game. So like quit
Mm,
chasing the next big idea and just find one idea that you really resonate with and love and just spend like this is once you've gone through the phase of learning and now spend this time nourishing this idea. So
mm.
yeah, I don't have any plans after this. I might become a YouTuber. I don't know. That'd be kind of
Who
fun.
knows? Yeah.
I might sell my companies and just go to Cape Town and just chill in Cape Town.
Yo, let's
I have no
roll,
clue.
roll. Yeah.
um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very ambitious. I want to do good in this world. I want to keep
Mm,
building things. I love making companies, but
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I don't have a plan. I'm living in Austin. I have friends. I have family.
Mm,
I don't really need much more in my life right now, so I can't complain.
yeah, true, true. Um, Actually, I'm quite curious. Oh yeah, because I'm actually quite curious about how you answer that because a lot of people sort of have this idea in their mind already, and obviously, I feel like that's sort of an illusion. I feel like life in itself is sort of an illusion. You always jump between all these ideas in your head, and you're like, no, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But the truth is, that's not really what's set out for you.
Yeah,
And I like your answer because it's sort of it's basically just pure adaptability. It's like whatever flows, flows, and I will flow with that. Flows.
yeah.
I'm
Actually,
just gonna
it's
go
funny.
with it.
On the elevator up to my apartment, I wrote down something before we even did the podcast. It's exactly this, or it's like a statement that I've kind of made, like a belief I have,
Mm,
and it says, "Don't set goals if you don't know why you're setting them. Usually, when you ask
true.
yourself, 'Why do I want this?' there's an even faster path to achieving that goal.
True.
You don't want a front page Roblox game. You just want friends. You don't
True.
want like this like ask yourself, hey, why do I want 1,000 CCU?
Mm.
Honestly, for me, nothing would come up. I don't like. There's actually
Yeah.
no reason. Then what's the point? Or maybe it's money. Why do you want money? Well, the reason why I want money is because I want to be able to move out of my house. Well, is there an
Mm.
easier, faster way for you to make money to move out of your house right now? Probably yes. So there's
True.
always just ask yourself why. If you don't
Mm.
know the intention of you doing something, then you're gonna be on this endless
Yeah.
hamster wheel of wanting something and it never
Yeah.
being enough. But if you
Till
realize,
there,
wait, why am I even running right now? Why would I run in this hamster wheel? Then you just get out the hamster wheel and realize, oh, I don't have to run all this time. I could just be walking around in my little cage, chilling.
Mm.
So yeah, get off the hamster wheel, ask yourself why, and figure out your
Mm.
intention for the reasons why you do what you do.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us sort of have this expectation that we need to sort of be on to the next big thing in our lives, and we need to sort of be ahead of that, but we're not even thinking why exactly we're trying to do that, it's just
Yeah.
for the sake of, well, how do I say this? It's sort of like the mentality of like when you're growing up. A lot of people, I mean, obviously it's different for everyone's situation, but especially when you're a teenager, the first thing you also, for example, you want is like, I want a car. Why do you want that car? And then, like, okay, obviously you want to transport and drive around and stuff like that, right? But if you think about it, like, a lot of us subconsciously, right, we always feel that we need to be funneled into the specific direction of like, I need this specific asset. I need this specific um, I need this specific satisfaction of at every certain point in my life. But it's always you sort of like subconsciously think about it. You don't even inherently stop and think, wait, why do I need a car right now? Like, maybe I could save up more and get a car later, for example. A lot of people actually get cars very early in their lives, right? And did you know, actually, statistically, cars are like actually one of the number one products that actually keep people behind in like sort of like saving money and actually living a more comfortable life, because you're driving around all the time and you're spending money on groceries, you're spending on money, but on fuel costs and so on and so on. But it's like, it's one of the actual first things that actually impacts your life negatively the moment you actually get it. But a lot of people don't actually realize that. It's actually one of the biggest drainers of like your funds that you could possibly imagine. But we don't think about that, right? It's sort of like a social thing, right, as well. I need to be able to drive and go and meet my friends. I need to go drive and, I need to go hang out with them or something like that. But we don't, it's
Yeah.
sort of like that expectation that, this is what everyone does and everyone moves through these stages of life. I need to get to that stage, like right now, when you could actually just pause and hold on for a second, maybe, okay, maybe I don't need a car right now. I could just ride a bike or something and I could save up and maybe I'll be better off later, but instead of maybe falling into sort of like a trap where you end up, but again, it's specific situation, but the statistic really on cars that I did read up on was quite interesting. So that's sort of like why I had to bring that up. But yeah,
Yeah, I think a
it's
car's an interesting point because a car is like having a car as a kid is like freedom. And so I
yes,
understand like the appeal of wanting a car is being able to do what you want
yes,
whenever you want. So like even I wanted a car, and I didn't even care what the car was. But I think
mm,
yeah, but I completely see what you're saying. It's like the thing you want may actually drag you down. And like be
yeah,
careful. Like
exactly.
if you're a billionaire and you want a bigger and bigger house, why? What's the
Why
point of a
exactly?
$100 million house versus a $10 million house? Just get the $10 million house,
Mm.
Like just you don't always need to be chasing the next thing.
The
You don't
next
always
big
need to be
thing,
doing more.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
you
Like,
can
like
follow your own path, and you could actually sort of because again, life is not linear. It's not just one direction that everyone is heading in. It's like the same thing with university, right? Also, like this expectation that a lot of people need to go to university, that's been dropping in numbers recently. And I think it's a
yeah,
lot because a lot of people feel that they have this individualism, that they can control their own fate. They don't have to follow this sort of set lines to get success all the time. There's so many ways you can grow and expand in your life, and so many things you could do in your life without having
yeah,
to follow that one major road, that you will
yeah.
likely get clogged up in, because it's not one size fits all, actually. It's actually um, life is
Yeah, I
actually
think
suitable for everyone if you follow what you actually really want to do. Yeah, sorry.
I think that a funny no, you're good. I think a funny this is gonna sound strange, but I think the one thing I would tell to my younger self is you have free will.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. Like
Yes.
And people might tell you can't do it. People might tell you don't talk to that person or send that email or start the business or whatever it is. But it doesn't matter. Just you have free will. You have control over your life. If you're in GTA right now, you run people over. You do whatever you want, right?
Yeah,
You have free will to do
exactly.
whatever you want. The
Yeah.
real world is just like that. Obviously, you don't run people over,
Mm.
ideally.
Obviously, but
But yeah, it's like, dude, if you want to start a business, but you feel like you shouldn't, or your dad, just do it.
just do it.
Like,
Try it.
don't
Yeah.
listen to the outside voices. Listen to your
Mm.
intuition. Listen to yourself,
Mm.
and do whatever feels right. For me, I didn't want to go to college. I told my parents that I wanted to move to Austin, Texas, 3 months ago. I moved to Austin, Texas, 3 months ago. No, there's no reason. There's no family here. There's no logical explanation or backup plan. Or if this happens, then I'll. No, there's nothing. There's no university. It's just I'm gonna
Mm.
go to Austin because I feel like I want to go, and because I want to go, and then I
Mm.
just go to Austin. So like
Mm.
you have free will, and usually when you follow your intuition, you follow your voice, follow what you actually want to do with your life, good things happen. Like
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So follow your intuition. Don't doesn't matter what everyone else is saying.
True. True. So, there's all these different types of things that obviously try to drive us into this, endless hell cycle of, hustle and all this weird sort of like insane expectation that we need to sort of follow the paths of others. But, it couldn't be further from the truth. The best way to achieve success in your life is to always follow your own dreams and follow your own passions and what you actually really want to do. And those people did that themselves. It just happens to be that, collectively 1,000 billion people on Earth just feel like they need to go do that as well. In that exact order that they did, but that's obviously can't be further from the truth. So, I
Yeah.
think.
There's one other quote. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
this is like
please
something
bring them on,
super
man.
passionate about.
True, yeah, bring them on.
There's this good quote that says the way to be happy, or it's like I guess like the calculation to happiness is
Mm,
what you want to what you have.
mm,
So you can either but the thing is, like, if you want more money and then you have more money, it'll infinitely scale. The goalpost will always go up. It'll always go bigger and bigger. You'll never get what you want. But if you just say like, for example, I'll say my brother ended up he talked to me, Cole, I want to make a game. I want to go big. I want to have 400 players and I
mm.
want to make $1,000 a month. And he told me this around 4 months ago. I'm like, all right, Ian, let's do it. And he ended up making this game called Bake the Baby. Which sounds horrible.
True,
It's pretty
true.
non-gruesome. He was the game. The game ended up getting 15,000 players and making him tens of thousands of dollars. And he called me the other day. He's like, Cole, the game's
Because of
gonna go
social
down,
seed.
whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I called Ian back. I'm like, dude, Ian, this is what you want. The only reason why you're dissatisfied right now, the only reason why you're stressed right now, is because you want something more. So it's really good to set what do I want in my life, because you probably don't need $1 million to be happy. You probably
True.
don't need to be surrounded by Elon Musk, or you don't need your favorite celebrity to like you to be happy. You just need you don't
True.
need much to be happy. So as long as once you identify that, then once you get to this attainable level of happiness,
Of
then you will just
comfort.
be happy all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like just like write down what your ideal life will look like, and you'll probably realize you don't need to make millions of dollars. You probably don't need a front page game. You probably don't need
Mm,
whatever. You just need to just do the steps to get there. It's
mm.
actually very obtainable, and your dream life isn't. It's probably sitting in. It's probably not Andrew Tate's Bugatti. It's probably not having a mansion with girls. It's probably just like having your
True.
family, having your friends, and living in a nice city where you can buy food.
Mm,
That's probably it. So just like
mm.
down and define what you want, because when you don't define what you want, then you always think you want the next thing, even though you've already clearly surpassed what you want and what you need. So
True,
yeah.
true. Awesome. I think this is sort of a good time to sort of end this off. I actually just want to ask you, are there any specific shout outs, any people you want to mention, any people that have inspired you along the way in your journey, any person you want to really shout out, any people you want to, give
Um,
props to, feel free to let me know. You could just say it right here. Anybody that's,
I mean, shout out my twin brother, I guess. Shout out. I mean, I have so many people who helped me get here, like in my real life and Roblox. So there's a lot of people I could list, but
too many people.
you know, my
Yeah,
twin brother, my my dad. I mean,
true, true.
my programmers who've been with me and helping me make my games, all that stuff. I really appreciate everybody. And yeah, if you're seeking permission from somebody to do what you want to do or live the life you want, then I give you permission. Go do it. So
Go do
if
it. Yeah, exactly.
you're watching, go do it.
Yeah,
Nothing
as long
stopping
as
you.
it's not
So,
dangerous, everybody. That's all. That's all that matters.
yeah,
As long as it's not dangerous.
yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, everybody. This has been an interview with One Call, and yeah, we'll probably see you guys next week. Cheers. Awesome.